The shell, a round, pink, tender shell, opening and closing, closing and opening. My vagina is a flower, an eccentric tulip, the center acute and deep, the scent delicate, the petals gentle but sturdy. I did not always know this. I learned this in the Vagina workshop. I learned this from the woman who runs the Vagina workshop. A woman who believes in vaginas, who really sees vaginas, who helps other women see their vaginas by seeing other women's vaginas. In our first session, the woman who runs the Vagina workshop asked us to draw a picture of our own unique, beautiful, fabulous vagina. That's what she called it. She wanted to know what our own unique, beautiful, fabulous vaginas look like to us. One woman who was pregnant drew a big red mouth, screaming with coins spilling out of it. Another very skinny woman drew a big serving plate with a kind of Devonshire pattern on it. I drew a huge black dot with little squiggly lines around it. The black dot was equal to a black hole in space, and the squiggly lines were meant to be people or particles or just your basic objects that got lost there. I had always thought of my vagina as a sort of anatomical vacuum randomly sucking up things and objects from the surrounding environment. I did not think of my vagina in practical or biological terms. I did not, for example, see it as something that was attached to me. In the workshop, we were asked to look at our vaginas using hand mirrors. We were to carefully examine them and verbally report back to the group on what we saw. I must admit that up until this point, everything I knew about my vagina was based on hearsay or invention. I had never really seen the thing. It had never occurred to me to look at it. It felt so reductive and awkward, looking at it the way we were in the workshop with our hand mirrors. I felt the way the early astronomers must have felt with their primitive telescopes. I found it quite unsettling at first, my vagina. Like the first time you see a fish cut open, and you discover this whole other bloody, complex world right under the skin. It was so raw, so red, so fresh. And the thing that surprised me most was all the layers. Layers inside layers, opening into more layers. My vagina amazed me. I couldn't speak when it came my turn in the workshop. I was speechless. I had awoken to what the woman who ran the workshop called vaginal wonder. I just wanted to lay there on my mat looking at my vagina forever. Then, the woman who ran the workshop asked how many women had had orgasms. 2 women tentatively raised their hands. I did not raise my hand, but I had orgasms. I didn't raise my hand because they were accidental orgasms. They happened to me. They'd happened in my dreams, and I would wake in splendor. They happened a lot in water, mostly in the bath, once in Cape Cod. They happened on horses, on bicycles, sometimes on the treadmill at the gym. I did not raise my hand because although I had orgasms, I did not know how to make one happen. I thought it was a magical, mystical thing. I didn't want to interfere. It felt wrong getting involved, contrived, manipulative. It felt Hollywood. The surprise would be gone, and the mystery. The problem, of course, was that the surprise had been gone for 2 years. I hadn't had a magical, accidental orgasm in a long time, and I was frantic. That's why I was in the Vagina workshop. Then, the moment had arrived that I both dreaded and longed for. The woman who ran the workshop asked us to take out our hand mirrors again and see if we could locate our clitoris. We were there, the group of us women, on our backs, on our mats, and I don't know why, But I started crying. Maybe it was sheer embarrassment. Maybe it was knowing that I would have to give up the fantasy, the enormous, life-consuming fantasy that someone or something was coming to lead my life, to choose direction, to give me orgasms. I could feel the panic coming, the simultaneous terror and realization that I had avoided finding my clitoris, had written it off as mainstream and consumerist because I was in fact terrified that I did not have a clitoris, terrified that I was one of those constitutionally incapables, one of those frigid, dead, dry, shut down, apricot tasting bitter. Oh my God. I lay there on my back, reaching with my fingers, and all I could think about was the time when I was 10 years old and I lost my gold ring with the emeralds in the lake. How I kept diving over and over again to the bottom of the lake, running my fingers over stones and fish and bottle caps and slimy things, but never my ring. The panic I felt. I knew I'd be punished. The woman who ran the workshop saw my insane scrambling, sweating, and heavy breathing. She came over. I told her, "It's gone! It's gone! I lost my clitoris! I shouldn't have worn it swimming!" The woman laughed. She calmly stroked my forehead. She told me my clitoris was not something I could lose. It was me, she said, the essence of me. It was both the doorbell to my house and the house itself. I didn't have to find my clitoris. I had to be it. Be it. Be my clitoris. Be my clitoris. I lay back and closed my eyes. I put the mirror down. I watched myself floating above myself. I watched as I slowly began to approach myself and re-enter. I felt like an astronaut re-entering the surface of the earth. It was very quiet, this re-entry, quiet and gentle. I bounced and landed and bounced. I came into my own muscles and blood and cells, and then I slid into my vagina. It was suddenly easy, and I fit. I was all warm and ready and young and pulsing and alive. And then, without looking, with my eyes still closed, I put my finger on what had suddenly become me. There was a little quivering at first, which urged me to stay. Then the quivering became a quake, an eruption, the layers dividing and subdividing. The quaking broke open onto an ancient horizon of light and silence, which opened onto a plane of colors and music and innocence and longing, and I felt connection, calling connection, as I lay there, thrashing about on my little blue mat. My vagina is a shell, a tulip, and a destiny. I am arriving as I am beginning to leave. My vagina. My vagina. Me.